Hello, third graders. This is Math Expressions 2018 edition, Unit 4, Lesson 5 video lesson. The pages that you need for this lesson are 255A through 256. If you do not have scissors available to cut out the fraction circles that are on page 255A, you also have the option to use the eye tools. So the eye tools for grade 3 are found in your library. This is the teacher screen, so yours looks a little bit different than mine. But when you open up the eye tools for grade 3, double check that it says G3 for grade 3. You can see that the fraction option is something that is here and available for you to use. I'm going to open mine up just to have it ready to go. Now, ideally, you could cut out these fraction circles. Well, first label each unit fraction, then cut out the fraction circles on the dashed line. But before we get too far, let's go back and double check what the learning target for today is. So what we're going to be doing today for lesson 5 is we are going to compare fractions, and specifically we're going to be looking at fractions with the same denominator or with the same numerator. And we're going to be investigating some rules or concepts for us to keep in our mind. So the first thing here, we're going to be exploring fraction circles. I looked at this green fraction circle, and you can see that I have already labeled it with the unit fraction. Because there were 4 equal parts in this circle, I knew that my denominator was going to be a 4. And a unit fraction is one of those equal parts. So 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. There are 4 fourths here to make one whole circle. I did the same thing for the blue circle. I first counted how many equal parts there were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I knew my denominator was 6. And then I labeled each part with the unit fraction 1/6. For this lavender circle, I again counted how many equal parts there were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because there were 8 equal parts, I knew that my denominator was going to be 8. And I labeled each of the equal parts with the unit fraction 1/8. If you have this page available, label each unit fraction for yourself, pause the video, then cut out the fraction circles on the dashed line. If you don't have this page available and you're going to be using your eye tools, pause the video and open up eye tools. I'm actually going to drag my page a little bit closer here at the top. Okay, third graders, so I am going to be turning over to page 255. And at the top of 255, the first thing we're going to be doing is comparing fractions. We're going to use these 2 circles. Now, if you have pencil paper and you were able to cut those out, you're going to use these 2 circles and those pieces that you cut out. These represent your wholes. If you have someone at home, you can work with a partner. Use your fraction circles that you cut out to compare fractions during our activity today. I added a little note on here for those of us who are virtually learning that you can also use eye tools to compare the fractions. I'm going to be using eye tools today. So I'm going to be switching from the bar option to the circle option because that's what we're using. And so I'm going to get my stuff ready, and I'm going to put 2 fraction circles up here ready to go. Number 1, our directions say, record your work during the class activity. This is something that if we were face to face, we would be doing together. Number 1 says to compare 7/8 to 5/8. Well, our denominator tells us how many equal pieces are in a whole, and our numerator tells us how many of those equal pieces are being represented. So the first circle I'm going to represent is going to have 7/8. So I'm going to select this first circle. You can see that the thin line became a little bit thicker. And now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select the unit fraction 1/8. And I'm going to put 7 equal pieces into that circle. I'm hoping this works right. Sometimes I make mistakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm actually going to turn my labels on so that you can see that this is 8ths. The other fraction that we're going to compare it to is 5/8. So I'm going to select the other circle and unselect that one. I want this one selected, and I'm double checking to make sure that there's no thick lines here, that there's a thick line there, and oh, now I forgot, 5/8. So I'm going to put 5 unit fractions of 8ths in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which of these circles has a greater value? If you selected 7/8 and you said this one is greater, I agree with you. So I'm going to put in the symbol 7/8 is greater than, oops, I don't like that one there. I'm going to choose a different color. How about, is purple okay with you guys? I hope you like purple. 7/8 is greater than 5/8. Okay, let's keep going. Number 2 is comparing another fraction. And in this fraction, we are comparing 3/6 and 5/6. So I'm going to come back to this screen and I'm going to put 2 more circles up here. And I actually want to move this guy down here. And the first unit, or the not unit fraction, the first fraction that we're going to compare is 3/6. So let's do that. I've selected it. It's become thicker, and I'm going to use the unit fraction 6th. 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. The other fraction is 5/6. So I'm going to unselect that and select this circle, and I'm going to put 5/6 in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which of these holes, circles that have been filled in with unit fractions, is greater? Well, the shaded in region over here covers more area, so I'm going to agree with those of you that are thinking that 5/6 is greater than 1/6. But the order that this is in has not 1/6, but 3/6. It has 3/6 listed first. So our symbol is going to open up towards the greater value. And so I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to open it up towards the 5/6. The way that we read this is 3/6 is less than 5/6. Now here's where we need to make an explanation. How to compare 2 fractions that have the same denominator. Well, let's take a little look at this investigation. I am misspeaking all over today. If you look at the denominators, both of these examples have the same. Now let's look at the numerator. 7 is greater than 5, and our symbol is opened up towards the 7/8. 5 is greater than 3, and our symbol is opened up towards the 5/6. Pause the video now and jot down what you think a good explanation on how to compare 2 fractions that have the same denominator is. Now that you've had a chance to think about how to explain how to compare two fractions that have the same denominator, look to see what you came up with against what I came up with. I said, when two fractions have the same denominator, look at the numerator to know which fraction is greater. The greater numerator, in this case, is the greater fraction. Let's move on. Remember that you can pause this video at any time to do your own work and then compare your work to mine. I'm going to continue with comparing fractions. Number 4 says 3/4 compared to 3/8. What's changed is that our denominators don't match anymore, but our numerators match. Our numerators match. And so number 6, I'm going to peek ahead, says explain how to compare two fractions that have the same numerator. Well, let me come over here and clear this page. And I'm going to get my circles all set up. And let's build our fractions. Let's first build 3/4. So I have selected this circle and I'm going to do 3/4. So I'm going to have 3 of the unit fractions 1/4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And the next fraction that we're going to compare that to is 3/8. And so I'll select this circle and I'm going to put 3 unit fractions of 1/8 in here. 1, 2, 3. Oops. I hit one too many, so I'm going to undo that. All right. So I have 3/4 and I'm comparing that to 3/8. Visually, I can see that 3/4 is greater than 3/8. So I am going to put my symbol in there. 3/4 is greater than 3/8. Okay, number 5. 5/8 compared to 5/6. So let's put 2 more fraction circles down here to get them ready. And 5/8 for the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5/6, was it? Yep. 5/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see again here that the 6th is greater than the 8th. So I'm going to put my symbol in and I'm going to open it up towards the 6th, 5/6. And the way I'm going to read this expression is 5/8 is less than 5/6. Now, how can we explain this? What would you say to somebody who wanted to know how to compare two fractions that have the same numerator? Pause the video. See what you can come up with. Here's what I said. When two fractions have the same numerator, meaning the same top number, look at the denominators to know which fraction is greater. The lesser denominator means the equal pieces are actually larger. So the lesser denominator in this case, where the numerators are the same, is actually the greater fraction. See how 4 is less than 8? But because fourths were larger equal pieces, when you compared 3 of these and 3 of these were larger pieces, so 3/4 would be larger. And 8 and 6. 8 is larger than 6, but if you had a circle that was cut into 6 equal pieces instead of 8, that means these equal pieces were larger than these equal pieces. Turn your paper over. We're going to use our comparison symbols to compare these fractions. Pause the video now. Compare these fractions using the symbols given to you here. Once you have given your answers, hit resume and compare what you have with what I have. All right, third graders, let's compare what you have to what I have. Number 7, we have matching numerators. So we're going to look for the lesser denominator. 2/2 is greater than 2/3. Number 8, we have matching denominators. So we're going to look for the greater numerator. 1/3 is actually less than 5/3 because 5 is greater than 1. Number 9, we have matching numerators. So we're going to look for the lesser denominator. That's 2. 3/2 is greater than 3/6. Number 10, we have matching denominators. So we're going to look for the greater numerator. 5/6 is greater than 4/6. Number 11, we have matching denominators. So we're going to look for the greater numerator. 5/8 is greater than 3/8. Number 12, 7/3 and 7/6. We have matching numerators. So we're going to look at the denominators for the lesser denominator. That would be 3. 7/3 is greater than 7/6. Number 13 has matching denominators. So we're going to look for the larger numerator. 7/8 is greater than 3/8. Number 14 has matching numerators. So we're going to look for the lesser denominator. That's 4. 9/4 is greater than 9/8. Well, you know what time it is. What's the error? It's our friend Puzzled Penguin. He's got another question for us. Now remember, we don't want to make him feel bad because mistakes are how we learn. Let's see what he's got to say. Dear math students, today my teacher asked me to compare 3/7 and 3/9 and to explain my thinking. I wrote 3/7 is equal to 3/9. My thinking is that both fractions have 3 unit fractions, so they must be equal. Is my work correct? If not, please correct my work and tell me what I did wrong. How do you know my answer is wrong? Your friend, Puzzled Penguin. Well, for number 15, we are going to respond to Puzzled Penguin. Pause the video now and come back once you've written him an answer, telling him what it was that he did wrong. If your answer to Puzzled Penguin gives the same information that my answer here, you're on the right track. Here's what I wrote. Sorry, Puzzled Penguin, your work is not right. Yes, they both have 3 unit fractions, but the size of the unit fractions are not equal. So the 7ths are greater in size than the 9ths. The correct answer is 3/7 is greater than 3/9. Let's actually take a look at that here. 3/7 and 3/9. So I'm going to put a circle over here and let's do 3/7. Oh no, I don't have 7ths. Well, I guess I can't do 3/7 and 3/9 on here, can I? And that is awkward. Can I do it with bars? Nope, they don't have sevenths and ninths on here. Interesting. Well, I guess we won't investigate that. But we know that the rule we came up with earlier is when they have matching denominator or numerators, the numbers on top here, we look at the denominator. We know that the sevenths, if I had a circle and I made 7 equal pieces, that's less than 9 equal pieces. But the more equal pieces I have to cut it up into, the smaller the size of them. So when the numerators match, the lesser denominator is the greater size. And I could always turn my page over to remember what we said on how to compare two fractions that have the same numerator. The lesser denominator means the equal pieces are actually larger. So the lesser denominator in this case is the greater fraction. And that is what Mr. Puzzled Penguin, that's the mistake that he made. Finally, this is what you're going to complete on your own for your teacher. Explain, again, how comparing two fractions with the same denominator is different from comparing two fractions with the same numerator. You're going to do a recap for me. So, third graders, that is the end of Unit 4, Lesson 5. Contact your teacher if you have any questions.